Hi everyone, welcome to Executive Viewpoint. Today I'm going to share with you 5 tips for a good business analyst or a product manager. Number one, whiteboarding. So if you want to be a very good business analyst or a product manager, this here, the erasable marker and a whiteboard are going to be your best friends. So those who are familiar with the field of business analysis, right, they know there is a lot of emphasis on visualization. So some of the core job functions of a business analyst or a product manager is requirement analysis, requirement gathering, requirements elicitation, making sure there is clarity around it, there is consensus around the requirements, and visualization is a key factor there. And obviously during the documentation you'll use other tools for visualization, but when you're in meetings or discussions, whiteboarding can be a key skill. So learn to be comfortable with a marker and a whiteboard. Learn to be comfortable with your handwriting. If you are not confident about how you are presenting ideas, others will also not be comfortable with it. So learn to be comfortable with how you're drawing, how you're writing, whether you like it, what are the skills you want to improve, and try documenting some of the processes, right? Drawing a flow chart, drawing a process diagram, and it doesn't have to be a business process per se. You can choose a simple thing in life. I mean, like going to a grocery store, right? What all things do you need? What all preparations do you need to do? What are the steps involved? What are the decisions you are making? Try to chart it out on a whiteboard, and you'll see your confidence growing, and then you can use those skills out. So that was my tip number one. Tip number two is get a good visualization tool and get accustomed to it based on the area you're working on. If your area is primarily process driven, right, you can use Visio or Jiffy, which are pretty good tools, both of them. If you are more into web design requirements, you can use several wireframing tools. I've used Balsamic, which is a pretty easy tool to use. There is Proto.io, Adobe Illustrator, Affinity Designer. Multiple tools are there. Pick one tool, one in the process area, and one in for wireframing, and get good at it. Once you know one tool, it's all a matter of just understanding the various features available in others, and you can quickly pick it up. So again, why am I emphasizing on it? See, the whiteboarding will help you in your meetings, in your discussions. But when you're actually formalizing the outcomes of those discussions in the form of your as-is diagrams or as-is processes or to-be processes, right? These visualization tools will help you a lot. They will reduce your back and forth with the developers and or the business stakeholders. So if your diagrams are well organized, they are clear about what they are trying to state, this is going to help you a lot. And one additional tip is, before you start using all these tools, it's better to do a draft on paper, because you can scribble, you can cut, you can do. Once you have a decent draft, then only put it in one of the tools. This will reduce the amount of rework that you might have to do, just in case you figured out, okay, you missed a step in between while documenting these processes. Tip number three is get Grammarly or any similar tool that can help you with your language and writing skills. Reason being, requirement documentation is one of the key functions of a business analyst's job. And if your writing is not good and it sucks, then God help you. And Grammarly has a free version available. All it asks you is to register an account on Grammarly, and the free version is sufficient for checking your grammar and the flow of sentences and all. You don't have to worry about, you're not doing formal writing for academic purposes or anything, so you don't have to worry about a paid account. Tip number 4 is learn the art of questioning. You need to understand when uh, you need to ask an open-ended question, when to ask a closed-ended question, what is the difference between the two. See, when you're trying to elicitate the requirements, trying to gather more details, it's better to ask a open-ended question. But when you're looking for specificity, because at the end of the day, your requirements have to be clear, they have to be specific, they have to be well documented, right? So all of that will come when you ask pointed questions, close-ended questions, uh, and know how to use and when to use them. And remember, patience is the key, right? Most of the stakeholders you will meet will not be too bothered about your deadlines or what you're trying to do it. They will have the information, so you'll have to reach out to them. So you have to be patient. You need to have those good listening skills. You need to know when you need to jump in, interrupt, and bring the discussion back on track. Tip number 5 is technical understanding. Develop technical understanding, right? If you are in IT and you're doing business analyst job, it is not sufficient to just know functional requirements or non-functional requirements, or what is in scope or out of scope going to be used. As they say, learn how to speak developers language, right? What do they mean when they say, okay, GitHub, use GitHub, or what are the deployment processes that are there? Learn how code versioning, code checkouts, security, how networking, all these things work. And you don't have to go deep into that, but a basic level of understanding is very important, especially because you'll be, at the end of the day, you'll be documenting all the non-functional requirements also. So all these things, the scalability and the stability of application, right? And how many concurrent users can be there, all these things will come in. And if you have the basic understanding of the platform being used and the technology being used, you'll be able to ask the right questions. So those were my 5 tips. In addition to that, I'll give you 2 more bonus tips. Tip number 6, build rapport with people. Build relationships with them. Learn to speak their language. Make friends with them, because working on all these things, collecting requirements, elicitation, you will need the help of all these. And there are 2 ways of building the rapport. Either you are very good with people. Some people have that natural uncanny ability, right, to quickly make friends. But if you are not one of those people, then another way of impressing people and making sure they take you seriously is to do your groundwork. Before you go to a meeting, before you go to a discussion, right, be thorough. Do as much research you can do regarding the topic being discussed. And then know your audience, right? If you're talking to business, right, no, you need to speak in their language. If you're talking to developers and technical people, you need to be able to talk to in their language. Business people will not care about underlying technology, technical details. They just want things done, right? And so we need to understand, we need to be able to talk in their language and talk about business rules and exceptions and all those kind of things. And one final tip, take notes. You won't believe how many times I've seen even the most experienced people, right? They will not take notes during meetings. You can have a very sharp memory and you can think, okay, you'll remember everything. But it is always great to take notes. Take shorthand notes if you want to, if you don't want to write too much, so that you can go back, and when you go through your notes, you can see and you can remember all the discussions that happened around that. I've also seen people recording meetings at times, but because of privacy issues, it is better to call that out upfront. So those were some of my tips, which I hope will help you become better at your job. Hit me up with questions, or if there are other topics that you want to talk about. And don't forget to subscribe the channel. Thank you.